This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
It is 5 o'clock here on your Monday. Good morning to you. I'm Lauren Casey. Here's what's making headlines on this May 11th. Restaurant owners preparing to reopen their doors as another step is made to open Indiana. The restrictions they have to still follow to keep those customers safe. As more states reopen, the coronavirus is continuing to spread in the White House. How government officials are trying to protect themselves and the president. And a new resource is making financial help available to independent workers. The services they're offering to help you get back on your feet. But first, we want to get a check of our Storm Team 6 forecast. Todd Clausen is standing by on this Monday with a check of what we can expect as we head out the door. Todd, it is a chilly start for people who have to head to work this morning.
Yeah, you know it is. We're in the 30s. We shouldn't be in this spot this time of year on May 11th. Our normal low temperature is 51, and here we are talking about 30s almost anywhere you go. There's a couple 40s hanging on there. It's 38, though, in Indy as well as Bloomington currently, and we're dealing with skies that are partly to mostly cloudy across the area. So as we're dealing with these clouds, there's been a few flurries and spots across the area, but overall it's going to be a dry day for us. That is the good news. As all the precipitation from yesterday, we had that line of some thunderstorms that went through that produced a little bit of hail, and then we just had some scattered showers as we worked our way throughout the evening hours. Most of that is off to the east. That is the good news. We're definitely going to have more clouds than sunshine in the forecast for the day today, but there will be sun at times, and we'll climb through the 40s this morning, about 48 degrees by the time we get to the noon hour. Then high temperatures later on this afternoon, Lauren, only topping off in the low 50s.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Let's take a live look right now at your commute. If you are heading out early this morning, this is I-65 near 38th Street. You can see traffic there is pretty quiet, traveling up to speed. No major crashes or issues to report around the metro area at this early hour. Well, new from overnight, a 17-year-old is dead after a double shooting in Richmond last night. Police were called out to Lincoln Street around 5 p.m. on reports of a shooting. There they found two teens, a male and a female, suffering from gunshot wounds. Both were taken to the hospital, where the male victim later died. The female victim is also 17. She was treated and released. Officers say no arrests have been made, and they ask anyone with any information to please call the Richmond Police Department. Stage 2 of Indiana's plan to reopen is taking a big step forward today. Hair salons and barbershops can open by appointment only. Restaurants will be allowed to open their dining rooms at 50% capacity. These steps apply to businesses in counties that have been in Stage 2 for a week with no major issues. That does not include Marion County, where the stay-at-home orders are still in full effect through Friday. A number of restaurants outside of Marion County are preparing to reopen diners today, but with some safety precautions in place. Our Kelsey Anderson is joining us live this morning from Fishers with what one local restaurant is doing to make sure that everyone there stays safe. Hey, Kelsey.
Hey, good morning, Lauren. So Sangiovese here in Fishers, they had to close during this pandemic. So they haven't been open for 2 months, and now they're excited to get started today with some precautions that you will see and that you won't see. They said they're going to have less tables, will be seated at least 6 feet apart, and staff members will wear a mask and gloves. They'll also be taking their temperatures whenever they clock in for work. Owner Chris Evans says they are excited to open back up.
I think the first few weeks are going to be very tricky, very difficult. Not difficult, just tricky. You know, people are going to walk through that door a little nervous, but I think the people that walk through the door are ready to get service. They're ready to get that interaction. So we've got an approach where we are, our guests will have the option to text in their order from the table. They've got instructions. I don't know who's going to do that, but our staff will also come and take your order and interact with you. So we'll deal with each guest individually and see how they're feeling about it.
For now, you do need to make a reservation to dine in here, and the restaurant is offering carryout. Now, some restaurants in the area across the state are not opening today, so make sure that you want to check online or give them a call before you head that way, just to make sure that they are open. Reporting live, Kelsey Anderson, RTV6.
Kelsey, thank you. It is 5:04. Indiana is now reporting more than 24,000 COVID-19 cases since this pandemic began. The state health department reported 402 new cases on Sunday and 17 new deaths. That brings the total of deaths to 1,379. So far, more than 140,000 Hoosiers have been tested for the virus. For the first time since the stay-at-home order took effect, churches held in-person services on Sunday with restrictions. Faith Apostolic Church in Carmel is taking many precautions to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Only 50% of the building capacity will be filled. The children's area is closed, and there's hand sanitizer stations around the church.
We want to do our best to make sure it's done in a safe way. We would be devastated if anyone would contract this virus while here at church. So we're doing everything in our power to keep it as safe as possible.
For those who may be at risk or just don't feel comfortable leaving their homes yet, services will still be live streamed. Restrictions on places of worship were lifted in most Indiana counties on Friday. Again, that does not include Marion County. At 5:05, with millions of Americans grappling with the impact the coronavirus pandemic is having on the economy, the pressure to reopen the country is on. Other states across the country imposing patchwork of rules, and many Americans caught in the middle are wanting to get back to business, but wanting to know that they'll also be safe. ABC's Inez de la Cuetara is in Washington with the very latest.
This morning, the coronavirus pandemic inching closer to the West Wing. 2 White House staffers testing positive for COVID-19. First, the president's personal valet, then the vice president's press secretary. The vice president is expected at the White House today as new safety protocols are being considered, including social distancing during meetings and testing anyone who sees the president. Just 3 days ago, Chief of Staff Mark Meadows insisted enough was being done to protect people in the White House.
And I can tell you, this is probably the safest place that you can come to.
Meanwhile, the Navy's top admiral and at least 3 key members of the coronavirus task force are now in self-quarantine after they came into possible contact with COVID-19. This as the country continues to reopen. 45 states easing restrictions, even as the number of new cases continues to rise in at least 15 of them. This weekend in Kentucky, churches held in-person services with spaced-out seating. But in Castle Rock, Colorado, a crowded restaurant on Mother's Day with few customers wearing masks. In Maryland, crowds as Ocean City's boardwalk reopened. And in Los Angeles, bustling trails, hikers anxious to get out for the first time in a month.
It's going to take a while for the reopening to have an impact. So there's that.
Economically, the White House estimates things are only going to get worse before they get better. Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin saying unemployment could reach 25%. Inez de la Cuetara, ABC News, Washington.
It is 5:07. WRTV is the Rebound Indiana Initiative is looking at a time when we overcome the curve and get back on track, and to help, new resources is now available to independent workers and to help them meet and make those ends meet. A national nonprofit group called Green Path Financial Wellness is partnering with the Association of Independent Workers. They're offering financial counseling, debt management, and help with benefits and insurance programs specific to those independent workers.
Now, pre-pandemic, we knew that about 60% of these full-time gig workers would have trouble covering a $400 emergency. And today, through no fault of their own, many more are facing financial challenges.
GreenPath says many people want to know if mortgage assistance is a good deal for them. There's also a lot of confusion about which assistance programs are available to independent workers. For more information, go to this story on our website, theindychannel.com. Changes are coming for those wanting to visit Indiana's state parks during this pandemic. Admission fees are now being collected at Turkey Run, Shades, and Indiana Dunes state parks. Those charges will begin this Friday, May 15th. Starting today, restrooms, nature centers, historic facilities, and marinas will be open to the public. The golf course at Fort Harrison State Park also back open. DNR officials remind visitors you should still be practicing social distancing while visiting these locations. The Indianapolis Colts are preparing for the possibility of changes to games this season, including cancellations. The team announced a ticket refund policy this weekend. If games cannot be played or if NFL plays in front of empty stadiums, full refunds will be available if you bought your ticket through primary sites like Ticketmaster or the Colts website. If a game is rescheduled, fans can use their same tickets for the new date. The NFL released the team schedules last week, and the Colts season kicks off at Jacksonville on September 13th. The home opener is September 20th against Minnesota. The Colts are not scheduled to play any Monday night games. If you're looking for something fun to do with the kids this week, Paw Patrol is coming to the rescue. The city of Fishers is holding a Paw Patrol parade through the area neighborhoods today through Friday. Jason Marshall from the Popular Kids Show will be there along with a fire truck, police car, and DPW flatbed truck. To keep everyone safe, there will not be candy or high fives during this event. This is all weather permitting, and the parade will begin at 9 o'clock this morning and travel through Northwest Fishers until 5 tonight. You can find a full list of the neighborhoods and times on the Fishers Park website or the city's Facebook page. All right, Todd, is the weather going to be okay for this Paw Patrol parade?
It'll be decent. You're just going to have to bundle up a little bit, depending on which day you have it. The people that are seeing the parade earlier in the week, it's going to be a little bit cooler. Towards the end of the week, it's a little bit warmer. As we get you out the door on this Monday morning, we are talking about temperatures that are in the 30s all across the area. You'll need to maybe grab that extra cup of coffee, not only for being just a Monday, but also for a little bit of warmth. 30s here as we work our way throughout the morning hours. Once the sun comes up right around 8 o'clock or a little after, we'll start to see those temperatures moderate very slowly throughout the day today. In fact, this morning we have a few flurries and sprinkles making their way through the area. Greenwood up towards Noblesville into the Anderson area. It won't amount to anything. It probably even hardly wet the ground. But we will see temperatures eventually this afternoon top off in the 50s. 50 in Kokomo, 56 in Bloomington. Our normal high, keep in mind, is 71. So we are well below normal today, Lauren, but we're in the 70s by Thursday. More on that in your 7-day planning forecast coming up in just a little bit.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. The world is now recording more than 4 million cases of COVID-19, but more countries are beginning to reopen. Coming up, the steps many in Europe are taking to return to normal. And with most people shopping online, the BBB says scammers are creating more fake coupons. Still ahead, the company's impacted and what you need to look out for. And here's a live look right now at traffic on the south side, I-65, a view here at Edgewood Avenue, a little south of the 465 interchange. Traffic here is moving along up to speed, northbound and southbound. Stick around. We'll be right back with more news, weather, and traffic after this short break.
Listen to your heart. New ABC Tonight.
It is 5:14. Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana on this Monday. Here's a live look at traffic up on the north side, I-465, a view near Westfield Boulevard. You can see traffic is moving along up to speed eastbound and westbound. No delays or crashes right now to slow you down. Well, the global coronavirus cases surpassing 4 million this weekend. That's according to Johns Hopkins University. The U.S. accounts for most of these with more than 1.3 million cases. Spain has the second most and will begin reopening businesses today. Prime Minister Boris Johnson also announcing that the UK is easing restrictions this morning. Johnson said Sunday that anyone who cannot work remotely is encouraged to return to work. That's for employees in fields like construction and manufacturing. He also says people will be able to enjoy unlimited outdoor exercise beginning Wednesday, but it should only be with members of the same household. The Prime Minister also warned that if another outbreak occurs, restrictions will be brought back. The U.S. Army is offering a $25 million contract to a tech company to develop a wearable sensor to detect COVID-19. The Army says it wants the device to be worn on a person's wrist or on a watch or shirt or belt. They say the device should indicate if the person is having difficulty breathing or if they have a high fever. If symptoms are detected, they would then have the service member fully tested. Tesla CEO Elon Musk is threatening to move the company to a state with fewer social distancing rules. He said in a series of tweets this weekend that the company will move to Texas and or Nevada, but the California-based corporation is not confirming that statement. Musk also says he's suing the county where the company is headquartered. Tesla had planned to let some employees return to work on Friday, but that would violate the county's social distancing regulations. Some healthcare workers are dealing with the coronavirus and they're getting free vacations. American Airline says it's teaming up with Hyatt Hotels to donate trips to workers at New York's Elmhurst Hospital. More than 4,000 doctors, nurses, and assistants are eligible for these vacations. They'll get a 3-day stay at locations in the U.S. and Caribbean. American says it chose Elmhurst because the staff there is working so hard to save coronavirus patients. The time right now is 5:16. We want to check in with Todd Clausen and get a look at our Monday forecast as we begin this new work week. Hey, Todd.
Yeah, as we start off this work week, Lauren, we're starting off with temperatures that are on the chilly side. Not much has changed from the weekend or even the end of last week, but as we work our way throughout the remainder of this upcoming week, that is when we're going to start to see some warmth across the area. So it's cool. It's still breezy today. You're definitely going to need to have the jacket if you're going to be out and about, but by the end of the week, we're talking about the 70s returning, and with the warmth, unfortunately, will come some rain that is going to head our way. Right now, we're sitting at 38 in Indy, 39 in Muncie, and 42 is the current temperature over in the Lafayette area, in and around the metro area. Pretty consistent temperature-wise here, 38 in Zionsville as well as Castleton. It's 38 in Edinburgh, and Greenfield sitting at 38 degrees as well. We've been dealing with a few sprinkles and or flurries making their way through the area this morning, just kind of on the backside of that system that brought us the rain showers yesterday. Some of these showers and flurries have made their way through the metro area now, and they're pushing down towards Greenwood as well as Shelbyville, just south of Anderson currently, and that's just about it. They're not going to really cause much in the way of any issues for you here this morning. The big storm system, again, is that rain and snow that you see over in the Cleveland area. Working your way for the next 12 hours throughout the day, you notice it is a struggle when it comes to the temperatures. 42 degrees at 9 a.m., about 50 degrees by 2 p.m., and then we only go up to about 52 later on this afternoon. So nearly 20 degrees below where we should be temperature-wise for this time of year. This is a rare air mass that we're in for this time of year. This evening temperatures, they will be from the 50s, falling down into the 40s as we get into the 9 and 10 o'clock hour after sunset. Now, temperatures tomorrow morning will be down into the 30s, 35 in Peru as well as Bloomington, 36 the overnight low in the Columbus area. And for some of you, there will be a frost advisory that is going to be in effect. It's mainly to the north and to the east of Indianapolis. It does not include Indy as of right now, but the National Weather Service may change that as we work our way into the day today. And then for the day tomorrow, a couple degrees warmer. We're closer to 60 with partly cloudy skies, but the real warmth again builds into this forecast starting on Thursday as we get to 77 degrees. Then we stay in the 70s as we work our way throughout the rest of the week and into the weekend. But with the warmth, I mentioned, will come the chance of showers and a few thunderstorms. So that's the trade-off that we'll have to deal with. But most of us, I think, are willing to take that trade-off as of right now. As it looks, none of those days will be a complete washout. Maybe Friday, if I had a pinpointed day where the showers and storms would be more numerous, that would be the day. Lauren.
All right, Todd, we'll take it. Thank you so much. Let's take a look right now at traffic as you're heading out on the roads. This is a look right now to the southwest, I-465 here at Man Road. You can see traffic is picking up on this Monday, traveling up to speed. I can tell you no crashes to report right now around the metro area, so it's great news if you do have to head to work early this morning. Well, with many of us spending more time on social media during the pandemic, the Better Business Bureau says to watch out for online coupon scams. More scammers are using social media sites like Facebook to offer counterfeit coupons for Costco, Starbucks, and Trader Joe's. Many have seasonal or gift-giving themes like graduation. The BBB says consumers should be skeptical. If the coupon does not have an expiration date, then it's often a dead giveaway that it's a fake. You can also do a web search about the offer to see if it's legit. Well, a concerning report now on Jeep's latest Wrangler safety test after it showed alarming tendency to tip over in crash tests. As a result, the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety is giving the model a marginal rating. The institute says that their findings include the 2019 and 2020 editions of the Wrangler. In the test, the Jeep actually does a good job of protecting the driver from impact, but the tipping over is a problem because it can eject those inside the vehicle. Fiat Chrysler says it's unaware of this ever happening in a real crash of this type. The company has already made more than 500,000 of these models. Two nurses on the front lines of the coronavirus pandemic are going the extra mile for their ICU patients. Just after the break, how they found a way to bring comfort to those isolated by this disease. We'll be right back.
RTV6 is working for you.
When the coronavirus patients are put in intensive care, they're isolated from their families. But two Virginia nurses found a way to bring their loved ones to them. Michelle Vaughn and Megan Wright decided to use teddy bears, but they aren't your ordinary stuffed animals. They contacted the patients' families to record their voices on a little device and put them inside. The patients they're caring for are sedated and they're often unresponsive, but just hearing a familiar voice can really make a difference.
to always encourage them to use nicknames or things that they always say to them. They can hear that and they can understand that it's something that they know, and it will help them fight.
Well, so far, the nurses have given out about 24 of these special stuffed animals, and they plan to continue the program even when the pandemic ends. What a great idea there. All right, let's get a check of our forecast right now with Todd standing by from home. What can we expect today, Todd?
You know, the chill is still in the air, unfortunately, Laura, and that hasn't changed from really this weekend, even though Saturday wasn't bad in the afternoon with the sunshine yesterday on Mother's Day. Fortunately, we dealt with those scattered showers. Here is your planner for the next 4 hours to get going on this Monday, and you can see that the temperatures will slowly start to climb up to 41 degrees by the time we get to 9 a.m., and we're going to just kind of toggle back and forth between partly to mostly cloudy skies throughout the day today, and eventually highs will climb up into the mid-50s from Bloomington to Columbus. 53 in Indianapolis, 49 will be your high temperature in Peru. If you're looking for warmth, that finally builds back into the forecast by the time we get to the middle to end of the week. 63 on Wednesday, 77 on Thursday. Then we'll keep the temperatures in the 70s into the weekend with a chance of storms. Lauren?
They both work in healthcare, and they were shocked with the letter involving their yard sign. I'm Rafael Sanchez. That story at 6 a.m. when I join Lauren and Todd on Good Morning, Indiana.
Today at 10 on RTV6. This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Now at 5:30 here on Good Morning Indiana, many places across the state will begin phase 2 of Governor Holcomb's reopening plan today. We're talking to one restaurant to find out how they plan to keep customers and employees safe. And as more places continue to open, there are a few things to keep in mind, what experts say you should do to keep yourself safe. But before we get to our top stories here on our Monday, I want to thank you for joining us on Good Morning Indiana. I'm Lauren Casey. Todd Clausen, social distancing and working from home again this week. Todd, it was a chilly weekend here for the month of May, and it is a chilly start as people are heading to work this morning.
Yeah, you know, not much has changed. You know, yesterday was breezy. We had the showers. We had those chilly temperatures. We're kind of losing the shower aspect of things here this morning, so I don't think you need to have the umbrella as you walk out the door, but you definitely have to have the jacket. That is going to be the most important thing, I think, today. You can grab the sunglasses as well. You'll need them at times throughout the day today. It's not going to be a completely sunny day for us, but again, you do not need to have the umbrella handy for the day today, with the exception of there's a few flurries and sprinkles out there right now. Other than that, we are dry for the remainder of this Monday. 38 in Bloomington, 39 currently in Connorsville, 37 in Crawfordsville, as well as Tipton, and 37 in the Peru area. Here are those flurries that were making their way through the area. They're now pushing towards Shelbyville or just south of Anderson, and back to the west, there really isn't anything going on. So partly to mostly cloudy skies throughout the day today. It's breezy for everybody. It's below normal for everybody. You'll need to bundle up. Today is the coolest day remaining in my 7-day planning forecast, and by the end of the week, we're talking mid-70s. More on that, Lauren, coming up in just a little bit.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Let's take a look right now at traffic as you are heading out to start your work week here. This is I-65 down in County Line Road near Johnson County. You can see traffic there is picking up. It's traveling smoothly northbound and southbound. No issues to slow you down. So let's take a look over right now to the east side. I-70 here, a view near Mount Comfort Road. Traffic is moving along up to speed here on I-70, but keep in mind we still have both directions today closed on I-70 between the North Split downtown and 465 on the east side, so you'll still need to use that detour route. We begin this morning with the latest COVID-19 numbers from around the world. According to Johns Hopkins, the coronavirus tracker there's more than 4 million reported cases of COVID-19 across the globe. 1.3 million of those cases are right here in the United States. Globally, there have been 282,719 deaths. The U.S. accounts for 79,528 of those deaths. More than 216,000 Americans have recovered from COVID-19. Globally, more than 1.4 million people have recovered. Here in the state of Indiana, the State Department of Health reporting 24,126 COVID-19 cases on Sunday. That's an increase of 402 cases since Saturday. So far, 140,029 people have been tested for COVID-19 in the state. 17 new deaths were also reported on Sunday, meaning more than 1,300 Hoosiers have now died from this coronavirus. There are also 129 probable COVID-19 related deaths. Indiana's earliest recorded coronavirus death was less than 2 months ago on March 15th. As the state continues to move forward with reopening the economy, increased testing remains a big piece of that progress. Last week, 20 testing sites around the state were opened, and this week, 30 additional sites will now be open. Those sites include locations in Marion, Hamilton, Cass, and Hancock counties. State Health Commissioner Dr. Christina Box is encouraging anyone who meets the requirements to get tested.
I encourage anyone with symptoms, anyone who lives with someone who has symptoms, people who have been exposed and need a test to go back to work, and those individuals who are high risk, such as individuals who are over 65, people with conditions like diabetes, obesity, high blood pressure, and those members of our minority populations who are at greater risk to come and get tested. If you're at high risk, please get tested, even if you don't have symptoms.
Well, the tests are free. To register, you can go to lhi.care/COVID testing. We have a link to that site on our website, theindychannel.com. A number of restaurants outside Marion County are preparing to reopen their diners today with safety precautions in place. Our Kelsey Anderson is joining us live this morning from Fishers with what one local restaurant is doing to make sure that everyone there stays safe. Good morning, Kelsey.
Hey, good morning, Lauren. There's a lot of excitement this morning across the state as restaurants are finally able to open at 50% capacity for the first time in at least 2 months. Sangiovese and Fishers closed completely under the stay-at-home order, and when it opens today, safety precautions will be in place. Tables will be seated at least 6 feet apart, and staff members will wear masks and gloves. Owner Chris Evans says the community has been supportive throughout this crisis.
We've kept communication with all our guests. Regulars have been texting me continuously. When are you ready? You know, we've got reservations for tomorrow, which is already looking a lot better than I was expecting. So we're really excited about that.
For now, you need to make a reservation to dine in at Sangiovese, and the restaurant is also now offering carryout. Now, there are some restaurants that are deciding not to open today or even this week, so just make sure you call or check online before you head out to those restaurants. Reporting live, Kelsey Anderson, RTV6.
Kelsey, thank you. It is 5:35. As Indiana starts to ease social distancing restrictions, healthcare professionals say proceed with caution. RTV6 spoke with Kristen Kelly. She's the director of Infection Prevention at IU Health. She says although new cases have started to level off slightly due to social distancing, there's still some concern about a potential rise in new cases. Kelly estimates that 80% of Hoosiers have not been infected with the virus. That means when we come out of social distancing, COVID-19 cases will likely go up. Kelly says that's why Hoosiers need to use good judgment.
As we go out, more and more people are probably going to encounter it and potentially acquire it. It's nothing to be afraid of, but I do think that it's something that we should understand is going to happen and be prepared for it.
Kelly recommends Hoosiers to follow these simple steps. Start by socializing with a small circle of family and friends and screen everyone before getting together. Also avoid overcrowded locations. It takes just one person to spread the virus. You can minimize your risk by practicing good hygiene and wearing a face mask. Also make sure to prepare mentally to go through a few seasons of on and off social distancing. And most of all, be patient as we're all coping with this new normal. Well, as the country continues to reopen, some essential frontline workers will be making less money. Kroger plans to phase out its $2 an hour hero bonus this month. Target's pay increase will expire at the end of this month, and Amazon's pay bump is set to end mid-May. Meanwhile, Senate Democrats are proposing adding hazard pay as part of the next relief bill. The bonus would come out of a roughly $13 per hour raise through the end of the year. Republican Senator Mitt Romney is proposing a similar plan, giving frontline workers up to an extra $12 an hour through July. Well, this will be breathe a sign above Indianapolis tomorrow. The Blue Angels are preparing a flyover to honor healthcare workers, first responders, and other essential workers serving on the front lines of the COVID-19 pandemic. Times and routes will be released later today. You can find those right at theindychannel.com and on the RTV6 mobile app just as soon as we get them. And if you're heading outside tomorrow to see the flyover, Todd, are we going to have decent weather for that?
You know, it's going to be decent. Partly cloudy skies, I think, tomorrow, and temperatures that'll be right around 60 degrees. I know when they had the Indiana National Guard do the flyover, they postponed it because we had those real low-hanging clouds. When we have precipitation a lot, that should not be the case tomorrow, so that is good news. This morning, as you get ready to get out the door and get going, if you have to do so, we are talking about temperatures that are in the 30s here this morning. It is a chilly start to our day. It's still breezy out there as well, and temperatures will only slowly start to moderate throughout the day today. There's not going to be a whole lot of warmth that takes place from start to finish during the course of the day today. So make sure you kind of have that heavier jacket handy. Once again, we're looking at 54 in Danville, as well as Greenwood, 56 degrees, the high temperature in Bloomington. In some areas, Lauren, unfortunately, to the north, may not even get out of the 40s here today, but warmer days are ahead. We'll talk about that coming up in your 7-day planning forecast in just a little bit.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. A 17-year-old dead after a double shooting in Richmond last night. Straight ahead, the very latest on that investigation. And Ahmaud Arbery's short life was honored by family and friends over the weekend. And now there's a new request for the Department of Justice to investigate the handling of his deadly shooting. Coming up, the very latest on this case that's now making national headlines. It's 5:38. Stick around. We'll be right back. Dupixent. New from overnight, a 17-year-old is dead after a double shooting in Richmond last night. Police were called to Lincoln Street around 5 p.m. on reports of a shooting. There they found two teenagers, a male and a female, suffering from gunshot wounds. Both were taken to the hospital where the male later died. The female victim, who is also 17, was treated and released. Officers say no arrests have been made, and they ask anyone with any information to please call the Richmond Police Department. Also new this morning, a police chase across the city leads to the arrest of multiple juveniles. Police say that it started at 16th and Sherman around 2:30 a.m. An officer was behind the SUV and ran the plate. It came back as stolen. Police say the officer attempted to pull over the vehicle, but that's when the chase started. At some point, the stolen vehicle hit a median, causing damage to a tire. Eventually, they lost control and crashed down Lafayette Road. 7 juveniles were inside of that vehicle. No injuries or damage to any property was reported. More than 20,000 new cases of COVID-19 recorded in the U.S. on Sunday, and some of them hit very close to the White House. Vice President Mike Pence's press secretary testing positive for the coronavirus Friday, but Pence says he will not go into self-quarantine and plans to be back at the White House today. That's according to his spokesperson, Devin O'Malley. Meanwhile, 3 White House coronavirus task force members will begin quarantining after a low-risk exposure to the virus. NIAID Director Dr. Anthony Fauci, CDC Director Dr. Robert Redfield, and FDA Commissioner Dr. Stephen Hahn will quarantine for 14 days. Out in the UK, Queen Elizabeth will remain isolated at Windsor Castle. The 94-year-old has been at the castle since March due to the coronavirus. The isolation marks what is believed to be Queen Elizabeth's longest absence from official duties in her 68-year reign. Meanwhile, the UK is easing some stay-at-home restrictions. In an address Sunday, Prime Minister Boris Johnson said people who can't telecommute are encouraged to return to work today. But Johnson warned if problems or another outbreak occurs, restrictions will return. Now to a developing story out of Georgia that's made some national headlines. The state's attorney general is calling for a federal investigation into the death of Ahmaud Arbery. The 25-year-old was shot and killed back in February by 2 white men. John Lawrence has the latest.
This weekend, a celebration of Ahmaud Arbery's short life.
Thank you for your kindness, your love, your support.
The 25-year-old was fatally shot on February 23rd near Brunswick, Georgia. Gregory McMichael and his son Travis are facing murder and aggravated assault charges. They have not commented on the case.
It's heartbreaking. It's 2020. And this was a lynching of an African-American man.
On Sunday, an open letter calling for swift justice was sent to Georgia officials by a group of musicians, including Jay-Z and Alicia Keys.
What I'm seeking is those guys, all guys that were involved in the murder of my son, to go to prison, possibly for the rest of their life.
Georgia's Attorney General Chris Carr is requesting the U.S. Department of Justice to investigate the handling of the matter. Attorneys for the Arbery family released a statement saying they support a DOJ probe. William Roddy Bryan, the man who took the video of the Arbery shooting, is cooperating with authorities, according to his lawyer.
It is grossly unfair and downright dangerous for Mr. Bryan and his family to suggest that he is somehow a part of what the McMichaels were doing that day.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
Well, in Boston, the case against Lori Loughlin and her husband and dozens of others involved in the college admissions scandal is moving forward. A federal judge denied a motion to dismiss the charges on Friday. The defendants claimed the government mishandled the investigation and failed to turn over some evidence, but the judge disagreed. He also denied defense attorney requests to suppress calls between the defendants and the scheme's mastermind, Rick Singer. The trial is still set to begin October 5th. 3 R&B musical icons died over the weekend: Little Richard, Andre Harrell, and Betty Wright. They all had major impacts on R&B and the music industry as a whole. Wright died from endometrial cancer on Sunday at the age of 66. Her career started with Family's gospel group, and she released her first album at the age of 14 back in 1968. Harrell is credited with mentoring Sean Diddy Combs, as well as discovering and launching the careers of various artists and entertainers. 59-year-old Harrell died on Thursday, and Little Richard passed away from bone cancer on Saturday. He helped influence some of the biggest names in music, including Elvis Presley, Paul McCartney, and Mick Jagger. It is 5:46 on our Monday morning. Let's check in with Todd and see what we can expect as people head out the door this morning.
Yeah, Lauren, we're still dealing with cloud cover across parts of the area, and some of you have seen a few sprinkles and even a few snow flurries here throughout the overnight hours. Here's a live look from downtown to the north, and these skies should start to brighten in a little bit, but you do notice as you look closely, you can see some lower hanging clouds off in the distance there. Temperature-wise, we're sitting in the 30s anywhere you go. 39 in Muncie, 38 in Indy right now. It's 38 currently in Bloomington, and here are some of the other hometowns across central Indiana. Slightly warmer in Lafayette at 42 degrees. Bedford, you're at 39, and Greenfield currently sitting at 38 degrees. So I mentioned the flurry chances, and you notice there's still a little bit here on radar. They're quickly streaming to the south, now pushing into the Greensburg area, kind of in between Columbus and Greensburg. We're going to split the cities, moving through Hope and Westport. And again, it's not going to cause any issues, but nonetheless, a few flurries here on radar in the middle of May. Back off to our west, there's a little bit of cloud cover that is lingering here. So that's something that we'll have to deal with throughout the course of the day today. We're never going to completely get rid of the clouds. I think we kind of toggle back and forth between partly to mostly cloudy skies. Here's the hour-by-hour breakdown of your temperatures, and you notice that we don't really warm all that much. We get up to about 52 to 53 degrees later on this afternoon here in the city. Our normal high is 71. We will not even be close to that number today. In fact, we're going to be running about 20 degrees to 25 degrees below normal this afternoon. 49 your high today in Tipton, Crawfordsville at 54 degrees, 56 in Bloomington, as well as the Bedford area, and then highs in and around the metro area today will top off between 51 and 54 degrees, depending on exactly where you are. Now, going forward in this forecast, there is some improvement. We have to get through a very cold night tonight with temperatures that will be in the 30s, and that's why a frost advisory is in place for all the counties in that light blue, includes some to the north and to the east. But even if you're not under the frost advisory for tomorrow morning, you maybe be a little bit cautious with the plants outside and cover them up if need be. Highs tomorrow up to 60 degrees. It's a little bit better, but it's really not until Thursday that we start to bring in the mild temperatures, and once they arrive, they're going to stick around. Thursday, 77, a little more in the way of rain on Friday at 75, 77 on Saturday. So that is a trade-off that we'll have to deal with. With the warmth will come the chance of some showers and thunderstorms. At this point, it doesn't look like any all-day rains. There will be opportunity to get out and about. Might not be the brightest stretch of weather, Lauren, but at least it is warmer as those highs finally get back above normal.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. Here's a look right now at traffic as you're heading out on the roads. This is in the downtown area, I-65 and I-70 at the North Split. If you look closely, you can see a few orange barrels there on your screen. Keep in mind as you head out the door this Monday, we still have both Both directions of I-70 closed between this spot at the North Split over to I-465 on the east side. So as you're heading between the splits, you'll see those orange barrels shifting you onto just the I-65 lanes. So keep that in mind this morning. Well, the FDA has approved yet another potential vaccine for the coronavirus. Moderna was given the approval to move to phase 2, the clinical study trials, last week. The vaccine was developed in partnership with the National Institutes of Health back in January, and it began testing of humans back in March, a record 42 days later. The vaccine actually uses messenger RNA, or little pieces of the virus's genetic material, rather than a version of the virus itself. Moderna says that it'll begin phase 2 of the trials with 600 participants shortly. It's one of about 100 research groups around the world pursuing vaccines against the coronavirus. Delta is suspending flights to 10 airports across the country at least through September. The decision will affect cities with more than one airport already served by the airline. For example, in Chicago, Delta will halt service to Midway, but it will continue to fly into O'Hare. In California, service to San Francisco will continue, but flights to Oakland will be put on hold. Other airports include Hollywood Burbank, Long Beach, and Akron Canton. The airline says the move will help employees limit their exposure to COVID-19. COVID-19 pandemic is behind the cancellation of yet another major event. This year, there will be no Miss America. The competition, which was scheduled for December, is being postponed until next year. In the meantime, the Miss America organization says it's working with state qualifying organizations on eligibility issues for the next pageant. The postponement also means the current Miss America will serve an extra year until she can pass the crown. Next year's Miss America pageant will mark the 100th anniversary. Taylor Swift's Loverfest tour may be canceled due to the coronavirus, but Swifties can still get a full dose of the pop star. Next week, ABC will air Taylor Swift City of Lover concert. It was filmed last September in Paris. The special also treats fans to behind-the-scenes moments. You can watch Taylor Swift City of Lover Sunday night, May 17th, right here on RTV6. That concert will be later available on Hulu and also on Disney+. A kindergarten teacher is taking her lessons on the road. Coming up, how she's making sure that her students get a hands-on experience with a special class project. We'll be right back.
Or call the number on your screen.
Welcome back. An Oklahoma kindergarten teacher took her lesson on the road after her class completed this year's science project online. The end result, 21 baby chicks hatched. You can see them there. The dedicated teacher traveled to each student's home, giving them a chance to interact with the chicks and get a little hands-on learning. I bet that was a really fun surprise for those kids. Well, if you're looking for a reason to indulge in your favorite foods, look no further. Today is National Eat What You Want Day. Observed every year on May 11th, the day was created by Thomas and Ruth Roy of wellcat.com. It's meant to give people a much-deserved break from their diets with no regrets. You can share your savory or sweet indulgences on social media with the hashtag #EatWhatYouWantDay. And Todd, I think Eat What You Want Day was me this entire weekend of Mother's Day. We had some great quiche from Garden Table here downtown. We had ribs last night, nothing but cake, so I probably shouldn't take part in this day today after the whole weekend of indulging.
You're right. For me, it's pretty much eat what I want any day. So,
that's true.
You know, it may not be good for the belly, and you know, these suit jackets fit in, but yeah, I like to eat. All right, outside right now, we're dealing with temperatures that are chilly across the area. We're sitting in the 30s and 40s, 42 in Lafayette, 38 though in India as well as Bloomington, Logansport at 37 degrees. Throughout the day today, we are dealing with temperatures that will be in the 50s. It's a chilly day for us with skies that'll be partly sunny. As we will look ahead to your 7-day planning forecast, we do have improvement. Tomorrow we jump up to 60 degrees, 63 on Wednesday, and then we'll be dealing with temperatures in the 70s once we get to Thursday. The trade-off, though, is once we get the warmth in here, we will be dealing with showers and thunderstorms in the forecast. The time now, that is 5:56. You're watching Good Morning Indiana right here on RTV6.